welcome to my channel. Today I'm gonna be doing a little vegetarian recipe for you. Autumn is approaching, so I thought a little stuffed pumpkin recipe was in order. For this recipe you're gonna need a few basic ingredients. First of all, butternut squash or butternut pumpkin, however you want to call it. 2 deciliters of quinoa. I have here red quinoa. Fresh tomatoes, as many as you like. So I'm just gonna use probably 1 or 2. A can or a box of tomato sauce, preferably smooth. For the tomato sauce we're gonna need 1 onion and 2 cloves of garlic, 1 small carrot, and then you can add seasonal vegetables to the stuffing. Today I'm going to be using green peas. So let's get started. Okay, first off we're going to preheat the oven at 180 degrees Celsius. And in the meanwhile we're going to cut the pumpkin in half and put it cut side down, sprinkled with some salt, pepper and any seasoning you wish. And take away all the seeds and the strings from the bottom of the pumpkin, like this. From here you want to take out all the seeds. If you want to then toast the seeds with some paprika or some salt, they can be an amazing snack. Or if you want to save them to sprinkle them in your salad, you can do that. I'm going to put them in a cup. We are then going to place the pumpkin face down in a baking tray with some baking paper. To brush your pumpkin you can either use olive oil or coconut oil or whatever oil you prefer to use. This time I'm going to be using this coconut oil that doesn't have any flavor in it, so that we don't have the coconutty taste eventually. The pumpkin will have to stay in the oven for approximately 40 to 60 minutes. It much depends on the size of the pumpkin. The moment you know you need to take your pumpkin out is when it becomes cooked enough and the pulp inside is soft enough to scrape it. Meanwhile, the pumpkin cooks, we're gonna take care of the filling. Here we're gonna put our filling. First of all, we need 2 deciliters of quinoa. 2 deciliters is 200 milliliters, right? Yes. We're going to take our onion and chop it. Try not to cry too much. Second, we take 2 cloves of garlic. We can crush them, but we won't dice them because we're going to take them away eventually. We're then going to add our carrot. We're also going to slice this in tiny dices. You can also use a food processor for this, but I just have 1 carrot, so I'm just going to grate it like this. And onto the pan. Your pot now has carrots, onion and garlic, and we're going to put a tiny spoon of olive oil to fry it all together before we add the sauce and make it complete. Preferably use extra virgin olive oil for this. Put your stove rather high, but not too high. I have a scale from 1 to 9 and I put 7 at the moment. So just stir your onion, garlic and grated carrot and let it fry on the oil for couple of minutes. Eventually, when the onion will turn golden, then it's the moment where you can add the tomato paste. In the meanwhile, we're also gonna put our quinoa to boil. You should smell this. Reminds me of home. The onion has gotten quite golden, and the garlic as well. So we can add our tomato paste. Now put the fire a little lower. We're gonna add a few leaves of fresh basilicum. I'm also going to add some salt and pepper. I will put some onion powder for extra taste and some oregano. I'm also gonna add some of the fresh tomatoes. 2 cups of green peas. Check if your pumpkins are ready by poking them with a fork. If they're still a bit hard, don't worry. You can make small holes so that the cooking process speeds up. And then put them back in the oven. Tummy up. Try if your quinoa is ready, and once you see that it's ready, pour the excess water away and add it up to the sauce. Okay, so we're gonna check again our pumpkin to see if it's ready. Again with a fork. I think it is this time. Yes, definitely. So what we're gonna do now is that we're gonna scrape off the pumpkin and put the content inside here. It's important that we leave a little layer under the peel because we don't want it to collapse. Okay, so after mixing the rest of the pumpkin pulp together with our quinoa and our sauce and our peas and everything that we cooked beforehand, now we put the stuffing inside our 2 pumpkins. Try to avoid to get the garlics, if you don't like them. So the stuffing is done, and this can be a completely vegan recipe unless you want to put some cheese on top, which is what I'm gonna do because a meal without cheese doesn't have any sense. I'm gonna use some Parmigiano Reggiano, otherwise known as Parmesan. Make sure it's the original one. And this is a nice vegan alternative or vegetarian if you have vegan or vegetarian guests and you have no idea what to make for them. It's not the easiest, but it looks really nice and it makes a really nice plate at the table. Put the oven at 200 degrees. If you want it grilled, you can grill a little bit. Make sure you don't burn the cheese on top. See you in 5 minutes. This is how much leftover there was of the filling. This is usually enough for 2 butternut squashes. But of course, if you have a bigger one, then it's probably not enough. If you instead have smaller ones, you'll have plenty of extra, but don't worry, you can eat it as it is. It's delicious. And you can also use it to fill up zucchini, aubergines, and whatnot. There you go. In 5 to 10 minutes, the cheese is gonna melt and create a nice effect. As you can see, it's a lovely dish for a dinner with friends. It's ideal in the autumn now that we have pumpkins, so it's a very seasonal plate. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe. It's a recipe that me and my girlfriend created together, and we have our own little cookbook, so we'll be sharing more from that book. And hopefully she'll join me. She's behind the camera now. Hopefully she'll be joining me soon for a video, but in the meanwhile, enjoy your stuffed pumpkins and see you soon. Bye!